What's up, Knicks fans? We are so excited to announce that this summer, Fanatics Fest is returning to New York City, taking over the Javits Center from Thursday, July 16th to Sunday, July 19th. Meet your favorite athletes from every major league, including current New York Knicks like Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, and Knicks legend Patrick Ewing. Catch live podcasts and panels featuring some of the biggest names in sports while experiencing interactive activations from top leagues and brands. You can grab exclusive merch and discover one-of-a-kind memorabilia from sports and entertainment. Buy, sell, and trade collectibles with hundreds of top dealers. Connect with fans around the world who share your passion for sports. Tickets are on sale now at fanaticsfest.com. And when you use promo code KnicksFilm10 at checkout, you'll get 10% off your purchase. It's an extra day of the world's #1 sports fan festival coming together under one roof, and you don't want to miss it.
Oh, this fucking team. What am I going to do with them? I have no idea. Welcome to the Knicks Film School Postgame Show presented by Fanatics Sportsbook. I'm back, baby. I'm back. What can I tell you? I'm going to say, let's address the elephant in the room right off the bat. I'm going to say the words that everybody's been waiting for me to say. It's going to take a lot for me to muster them up, but I always try to be the bigger man, even though I'm 5'6". So here goes. You're welcome. Clearly, this team needed a serious kick in the ass that could only come in the form of me absolutely eviscerating them after what was, I thought, in many ways, their most dispiriting loss of the season against the Detroit Pistons on Thursday night. And, oh boy, for the better part of 40 minutes, it looked like they were going to follow up that loss with something that would, in some ways, rival it. Because, we always hear it's not about, how it's not about what you do when you're on a level playing field. The thing that is most revealing about a team is what you do when they are knocked down. And this Knicks team got knocked down pretty severely. I thought I had seen enough based on this season, based on things that have been reported, based on things that I had been hearing, based on how they went out last season, based on really, honestly, everything that we've seen for the last year and a half. I had just got to my breaking point. And with I guess it was about 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, I was looking and I was wondering if they had gotten to their breaking point too. Because the way they allowed this Houston team to come into Madison Square Garden, and honestly, the way that game was, I think the Knicks went up by 13 or so points in the first half at some point, maybe first quarter, second quarter, whatever it was. But it felt to me pretty clearly like they were leaving meat on the bone. And as when they went up by whatever they went up with, I thought the game started to turn right around. I even wrote it down. Right around when Houston hit back, it was back-to-back threes from Houston to give them 33 and then 36 points, and then Cap committed a foul, gave him 38. That was when their run started, and that's really when the game started to turn. And I was like, oh no, here it comes. And we're watching this, and I'm texting with a few different people, and one of the people I'm texting with, and I won't say who it is, but I will just say that I agreed with them, was like, oh, they're going to fold now. They're going to fold because that's what they do now. And watching it, I completely agreed. I completely agreed that this team had enough that this team was going to go down with a whimper yet again. Not that they were going to go 0 and whatever, is left in the season. But I thought back to it, and I was like, maybe it's my fault. I thought back to a tweet that I sent out right as I was getting on the freaking plane for my vacation. It was at the beginning of the All-Star break when I forget which journalist, I think it was Vince Goodwill, Chris Persianen tweeted a clip of him saying the Knicks fold under any kind of pressure. I'm like, wait a minute. I have my questions about this team. I have a lot of them, and I have my disbeliefs. But you can't just go out and say things that aren't true. And if it's one thing this team doesn't seem to know how to do, it's fold. And that's why I think Thursday set me off something so fierce. Because it was the first game out of the break, and it was against the supposed rivals, and it was after your coach went out there and said, we need this game. And then to not even punch back against that team that you should feel like you're better than, and allow them to come in and do that to you. So coming off of that, and then to allow the Rockets to go on what was at one point a 61-33 run in your building, on your floor. Like, at that point, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, how bad is this thing going to get? How prescient am I going to look based on everything that I said the other night? And they were down 93-75. And from that point forward, when they were down 93-75, they proceeded to outscore the Houston Rockets, who are a top 5 defense and a legitimate top 5 defense at that. 33-13. Literally outscored them by 20 points over the final, I want to get it exactly right here, 10 minutes and 43 seconds of the fourth quarter. And it started with a Landry Shamet three-pointer off of a Jose Alvarado assist. And I don't want to get into the specific players that I thought made this victory so special yet, because I don't think that this game was about any one or two players. And I thought Fred Katz had a great tweet about this right as the final buzzer was sounding, which is that what made this victory so important for the Knicks was not only that it was a big comeback, but the fact that everybody contributed. This was a team win. And to tie it back one last time, and then I promise I'm going to let sleeping dogs lie and leave the past in the past, to tie it back to why I was so infuriated on Thursday and said flat out, I don't like this team and I don't know how anybody could like this team, is because as individuals, there's a lot of guys that you like on the team. There's a lot of guys you admire on the team. There's a lot of guys you want to root for on the team. So why was it that so often when they got out there together, the whole was less than the sum of the parts? If there was one theme over the last year and a half, it feels like it's that. When you put the best guys on the floor with this team, so often they leave you wanting more. So when we get to the fourth quarter here, and for this one to not come down simply to a Jalen Brunson barrage, although he certainly contributed, for it to not come down to, a hot three-point shooting stretch from Landry Shamet or OG Anunoby or Mikal Bridges, for it to not come down to any one player, and for every single person that was out there at some point in time in the fourth quarter, for every single one of them to make contributions, says to me that I was dead wrong. I was dead wrong in one very specific fact, and that is that I did not think that this team still had the belief in each other that you need to have if you're going to compete for an NBA championship. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, no matter how good you are going to get hit in the mouth. Which, again, is why I sent out the tweet that I did before the break. This team has faced adversity. We've seen them face adversity. We've seen them overcome the most insurmountable circumstances, seemingly, multiple times. Not just last year, but it's in their DNA from before that. So how do you get that back? You get it back with trust. And you get it back with belief in each other. And most importantly, you get it back by doing your job and believing in the fact that the guy next to you will do theirs. And that's the thing. Whenever I have seen them err and falter over this very maddening year and a half long stretch, that's year and 2/3 at this point, it always comes back to a lack of that exact thing, what I perceive to be a lack of trust with each other because of reasons that we don't know what they are. And you know what? I'm not sure we'll ever really know. Obviously, the rest of the season, how it plays out is going to be a big determining factor in that. But I had a tough time watching this comeback and not thinking that there isn't still something there worth saving, worth getting excited about, worth watching, worth rooting for. And on that same note, you can't tell me that a team that was down 93-75, down 18 points to a very good team in the fourth quarter, you cannot tell me that stuff like Thursday happens or any other night happens because they just don't care about the regular season. You can't tell me that a team that's down by 18 points in the fourth quarter and goes on to outscore the Houston Rockets 33-13 in the final 11 minutes of that basketball game. You can't tell me that they just don't care about the regular season, and that's why we're seeing everything we're seeing. I think the honest truth is that they are going through it. And there is some stuff to be, concerned about because they are an imperfect bunch. And they are figuring some things out behind the scenes. They're figuring some things out on the court. But to watch that comeback and say that they don't care, they care. They absolutely care. It's about working through whatever their issues are. And what I think we saw during that stretch is they were able to work through some really important ones. So I kind of want to go through it because I think there was a lot of stuff that happened that is indicative of what we can look forward to being positives and being reasons to believe, hey, maybe this team has something more than a puncher's chance at fulfilling their destiny that we all thought was etched in, maybe not stone, but we thought this was the year, at least to make the finals. So I want to start with the group that was actually on the court when that comeback started. So he opens the fourth quarter with Jose Alvarado, Mikal Bridges, Landry Shamet, OG Anunoby, and Karl Anthony Towns. Why is that lineup significant to me? That lineup, which again, they initially they went down by a few extra points. They gave up. It was a Dorian Finney-Smith layup. It was originally a 17 or 16-point deficit. Then that made it 18. But then the comeback started, and I thought Landry Shamet and Jose Alvarado in particular, and you really saw it in the 8-0 run over under 2 minutes. But those guys, what I love about them and what I loved about them on the court at the same time is the amount of energy that they bring, and the way that they bring that energy is different than anybody else on this team. There is nobody else who brings the fire quite like those guys do. And for as great as I think Landry Shamet is and has done that role perfectly throughout this season, it's why he was one of very few players who I gave an A to when I graded the team during the All-Star break. I think Jose Alvarado even takes it up a notch. And we had some plays there where Jose Alvarado prevented an offensive rebound from being secured, poked it away. He then missed the three, but still, who knows what that possession would have turned into. We had, obviously, Jose Alvarado later on in the fourth quarter getting a steal and getting the finish to make it 103-101. And then maybe the biggest play of the game, there are a few contenders for this, but maybe the biggest play of the game is when the ball looked like it was going out of bounds after the Knicks had made it 103, after Jose had made it 103-101, and Jose Alvarado saves the ball, gets it back inbounds, and then on the ensuing possession, Jalen Brunson makes one of several clutch Jalen Brunson baskets down the stretch of this game. So I thought Jose Alvarado was absolutely pivotal, but I don't want to leave out Landry Shamet in that specific context because I thought Shamet not only, making shots, made the three to start the comeback, but also he made another three to bring them within 94-83. And it was interesting and telling to me at various points in this game. And I'm going to pull up the box score right now because I do think that this is a little instructive. That we've talked a lot about Mike Brown's circle of trust over the course of this year. He absolutely trusts Landry Shamet. And there's no question about that because of the situations that he has Landry Shamet out there with. There were some key moments tonight where Landry Shamet was out there in favor of Mikal Bridges. And you look at Mikal Bridges' stat line, 5 for 11 points. He absolutely made some big plays. He had the putback on the Jose Alvarado missed runner, right place, right time. He had another play on the defensive end that is escaping me at the moment, specifically what he did, but it was an important play. But I just think Shamet squarely inside the circle of trust. Mikal, I thought struggled at times tonight, but made some big plays in the fourth quarter. So start out with Jose and Landry Shamet. OG Anunoby. Let's talk about OG Anunoby next because I want to save the big two guys for last. I thought his first half was on par with any half that he's had this season. He was absolutely every place on both ends of the floor, scoring in ways that they absolutely needed him to. But I thought defensively, and again, you want to talk about reasons to get frustrated coming off of Thursday. The guy that was playing defense on Kevin Durant tonight, even when Kevin Durant got going in the second half, it's Kevin Durant. That's going to happen. The guy that was playing defense on Kevin Durant tonight was a completely different human being than the guy that we saw on Thursday, playing defense against Cade Cunningham. And if there's a thing that frustrates me about OG Anunoby, it's how we could get that game and then 48 hours get this game. And why is there not more consistency? But you know what? I'm not going to pick nits right now because I still thought with everything else that happened in the game, and I know we're getting to the guy who deserves probably the most flowers. But I thought OG Anunoby 40 minutes, finished 20 points. Obviously, the 2 clutch free throws. Only ended up shooting 2 of 7 from 3. But I thought his offense earlier was massive. And then the 4 steals. And I thought his defense was much better than that. He was out there for most, if not all, of the fourth quarter. And you want to talk about Mike Brown's circle of trust. I think other than Jalen Brunson, there's nobody more squarely inside of that circle of trust than OG Anunoby. His defense was instrumental to them getting the win. So shout out to him. Speaking of instrumental to getting the win, Jalen Brunson. I think if there's one reason why me calling this team unlikable really got under people's skin, it's because of Jalen Brunson. And it's because how can any team that has Jalen Brunson on it be a team that you don't absolutely love? Because how is he someone that anyone could not love? And I get that. And I love Jalen Brunson as much as anybody. He's my favorite all-time Knick. I love him more than anybody I've ever had the pleasure of rooting for. And I just think it speaks to how frustrating this team is that I can say what I said, despite the fact that he is on it and he does the magic that he does. The truth is that I don't want them to waste this gift that this guy is here. And for the most part of this game, Jalen Brunson was having as bad a game as he has had all season. He was not able to do anything against Houston. I didn't think he was forcing it, which is the one compliment that I will give him. We have seen other games where he has struggled where he did force it. I did not think we were getting Jalen Brunson forcing it tonight, but still the numbers were what the numbers were. He finished with a stat line that isn't going to, be all that impressive. Although when you look at 20 points on 12 shots after the night that he had over the first 3 quarters, you're like, how did he end up with 20 points on 12 shots? Well, because Jalen Brunson does what he does down the stretch. So big basket, cold-blooded midi to make it 99-95, bring them within 4. That was the closest the deficit got. Follows that up by drawing a charge. Follows that up with another tough bucket to make it 101-99. Follows that up with another tough finish to tie the game. And then, of course, the pull-up jumper to give them the lead, 105-103. Clutch player of the year, coming up clutch at the most clutch time. And then, of course, because he is Jalen Brunson, draws the other charge in between those last two baskets, which of course Houston challenged and lost. So Jalen Brunson showing why you should never count out Jalen Brunson. But I saved the best for last. And got to take a sip of my bourbon before this. Because this one's, here's the real problem. You don't know what the real problem is? Here's the real problem. I wasn't really being honest on Thursday. It's not that I don't like the team or I find the team to be unlikable. I have found the experience, oftentimes, of rooting for a team with Karl Anthony Towns on it to be downright impossible. I have found it frustrating, more frustrating than I found the Julius Randle experience, which I did not think was possible. And I think that feeling has so incepted everything about my viewing experience as a fan this year that it's really overshadowed almost everything else. So coming into tonight, and again, just full, laying it out. If you could be more out on a player that is on your team and that you ostensibly have to root for, and it's a really good player and a really important player, then I have gotten to the point where I am or was, I guess, on Karl Anthony Towns. I can't even imagine it. So coming into tonight, that's where my mindset was. And that was going to be how I was going to open the show. Talking about how it's not them. It's really about one guy. And I find him to be the most maddening, inexplicable player in the NBA. And tonight is example 1A of why. Karl Anthony Towns won the Knicks this basketball game. I know Jalen Brunson hit the shots down the stretch. I know OG Anunoby played the awesome defense. I know Alvarado brought the energy. I know Shamet made some big threes. I know they got some contributions elsewhere, even though some of those lineups, we'll talk about those lineups. I don't want to, but we will. Left a bit to be desired. The less said about Josh Hart tonight, the better. But even he, had a moment or two. I talked about Bridges, contributions up and down the roster. But Karl Anthony Towns won them the basketball game. Karl Anthony Towns won them the basketball game because in the fourth quarter, Houston could do nothing with him. They tried doing the thing that teams have been doing since he came, not since he came to the Knicks. The thing that teams have been doing since last January, and then obviously continued doing over the course of the playoffs, which is we're going to put our big wing on you. Dorian Finney-Smith, if you looked up in the dictionary, or not that they make dictionaries anymore, or not that dictionaries have pictures, whatever, Wikipedia, ideal Karl Anthony Towns defender. You're going to find a picture of Dorian Finney-Smith. Big wing, physical, can move his feet, doesn't budge easily. And that's the guy that they were trying to put on Cat to slow Cat down in the fourth quarter in particular. And it wasn't working. And the results wasn't massively overpowering. Cat only had 7 points in the fourth quarter, but he was efficient. And more importantly than that, he was a generator of offense. 2 for 3 on twos. He made, obviously, the big three-pointer. Had a big assist. And he was just the most threatening presence on the court. And you look at his final stat line here, 25 points on 15 shots, made all 3 of his threes. When's the last time that's happened? Feels like it's been a while. Only 7 rebounds, but I'm not going to kill him for that. He was the guy on offense, at least, and he even got there on defense in the fourth quarter. I will even give him that. There were some infuriating defensive moments earlier in the game. Again, it's all part of the Karl Anthony Towns experience. But he got there in the fourth quarter, and he defended what he needed to in the fourth quarter. He was the most impressive player in a basketball game in which Kevin Durant had 30 points on, I don't know how many shots. 26. Okay, 30 points on 26 shots. Not that impressive. So pretty comfortably, I thought, Karl-Anthony Towns, the most impressive player in the game. I just want to see it a little bit more regularly. That's all. And why do we have to get to these depths of just absolute madness in terms of what the experience is like watching him, watching them, before we get the guy that we know he's capable of being? And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I think the stuff that has been said and spotlighted by very smart people about how there is probably something physically off with him when he couldn't beat Clint Capella off a drive or on a drive earlier in the game. I thought you saw it there. Obviously, all the snapshots going around of the lack of lift. I think that stuff is real. Here's the thing. He's talented enough to overcome all of it. He has the touch. He has the finesse. He has everything he needs. And it's not all him. And if you don't think this is genuine, go back and read what I wrote in my newsletter when I was grading Jalen Brunson on his first half of the season. Go back and read what I wrote about grading Mike Brown. I said both guys I thought were deserving of an A-, and I knocked them both down to a B+. Again, this is my grades at the All-Star break. And the only reason I did so for both guys was because I thought it was incumbent upon each of them, as frustrating as it may be, and I would bet you anything, it is frustrating to each of them for various reasons. It is incumbent on your head coach and the point guard of your basketball team to make sure that everybody on the roster is getting maximized, especially the guy who is arguably your most talented player. So it's not all him, but what tonight, more than anything, more than the comeback, more than they dug deep, more than the fact that they did it as a team, more than they did it against a really good defense, more than the fact that they did it coming off of that Detroit game. The thing that I refuse to devalue the regular season to the point where I am going to watch a game on Thursday and say it doesn't matter. And then on the flip side, watch a game like this and say it doesn't matter. They all matter. They have to matter. If they don't matter, then what the fuck are we doing here? If you are not preparing with every game for the ultimate mission that starts in the middle of April, what are you doing? So this does matter to me. Tonight does absolutely matter. And what Towns did tonight and how he was able to find it and how he was able to do so many of the things that we've been calling for him to do and do them efficiently and in a big spot. That's the thing that I am going to take with me. And that's the thing that is going to provide me with some degree of hope moving forward. That maybe the doom and gloom is not warranted. And maybe this team they are really a team that we need to continue to take extraordinarily seriously. Because if you get that dude performing like he performed in this game, then the sky is the limit. You know? Because think about this. They just beat a Rockets team that had a big lead in a game when Josh Hart gave you nothing. Mikal Bridges gave you really not much on the offensive end and maybe not really even that much on the defensive end either. And a game where Jalen Brunson could not do a blessed thing for the entire first half and for most of the third quarter as well. So that tells me that, again, the talent is there. You just got to play the way you did in the fourth quarter. And clearly they're capable of it. So now it's up to them yet again, because how many fucking times have we had this same conversation? Reach the ultimate depths and then rise like Lazarus. They have to reach some level of consistency where they do not keep falling into these pitfalls, where they use a game like this to show us, show Cracker Jacks like me, show the media, but far more importantly, show themselves that, like, this is who we are. We're not the team that just lays down on the floor and dies. You know, this is who we really are. We know it's in there. We know it's in there because they've done it before. Let's hope that maybe this is the game that sets them finally, for good, for real, once and for all, on the right path. Because that's what they need to do. If they're going to accomplish their goals this season, this is the sort of effort they need to give. This is how they have to play together. Everybody contributing, all in, complete and total belief in each other, trust, the whole thing. That's what we saw tonight. I hope we see it some more. And, yeah, man, this is as good a win as they've had all year. If you want to tell me it was their best win all season, I'm absolutely here for it. So, yeah, there we go. John, put your headphones on. Uh-oh, we know what that means.
Not lived until you've watched the Knicks' third quarter of doom while you're descending through turbulence. What an experience. By the way.
Well done.
Mr. Macri,
yes.
A message from Journey, from the wonderful people on the internet, from the several people that texted me yesterday, why did he crash out? From all of your friends and loved ones. Don't stop believing, John. Don't stop believing in this team. A fourth quarter comeback after being down double digits. What is this? Last year's playoffs, John? Was this the Detroit series? Or was this the Boston series? Or was it the conference finals when they did it in game 3?
They have these comebacks.
Oh, so they have a history of doing this. Oh, man. I need to share something with everybody because I need to tell you. First of all, obviously, he's okay. He's back because he's all the way back in this fucking team, yada, all of that, right? You are a one of one because my phone was blowing up all day on Friday, and I was waiting to see if it would approach, like, do I need to go rehire ahead of PR, right? Like, if I had to see what Drew was up to. And it never got there. It was very funny to me. Just everybody reacting. Just all of it was very funny to me. And I then was wondering if I was going to hear from you. And then I got the text around 10:30 Friday night, and I was like, "Oh no, did something happen? Has this gone even more viral?" And this is Jonathan Macri in a nutshell, folks. As viral as you've ever gone, and I get this text.
Was it really that big of a deal?
Yes.
Oh wow.
I get this text. It's a picture of a puzzle. He did a puzzle was like, "Hey guys, look at my puzzle." That's how he reacted to yesterday. He did a puzzle.
Hold on.
What?
It's not a picture of a puzzle. It's a picture of a 1,000-piece puzzle that I did by myself over the course of the last week.
Jonathan, it is very impressive. I was at your house on Tuesday, well, your Florida house on Tuesday, seeing how it was like a third of the way done, and you finished it. Whatever, a quarter of the way done. Details aren't important. Yeah. This was your reaction to yesterday. Whereas other people might be like, oh, no, did I say a thing? Is this a crisis moment? And you're just like, hey, look, my puzzle. It was amazing, John. You are a one of one, unbothered by all of this nonsense.
Why would
as Kevin Durant said, unbothered by Twitter nonsense.
Hold on. If we're really going to peel back the curtain, let's peel back the curtain. Who put the fucking clip out there?
The Knicks Film School social team.
Which consists of?
A one of one.
Yeah, another one of one. And why did you put that clip out there?
Because it was really good.
Exactly.
It was really well edited.
And what do I always implore you to do?
Oh, brother, after you called Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart punks and losers or whatever, and
that was good.
The entire city of Detroit attacked you, and you just did not care. I was like, oh, okay, anything goes. We're good. Nothing will face him. I just thought it was very funny that
the way yesterday went, I then see this be the response.
Hey,
look, my puzzle.
I will just, again, full disclosure. It actually did faze me a little bit. And you know why? You know who I'm going to give a shout out to? Actually, I have to give 2 shout outs. One shout out.
Go ahead.
What?
I know where we're going. Go ahead.
I don't know if you do.
Is one of them going to be Benji?
No. Why?
Oh, wow. It usually is. Okay, continue.
No. What? No. First shout out is to Robert Cross, just because he knows why. But shout out to Robert. Second shout out. No, this is the real shout out to Kevin Danishevsky, because Kevin Danishevsky, I dropped into my usual little couple of pools that I actually do pay attention to. Sorry, Twitter, that you're not one of the pools. But I forget which one. I think it was Chat Next. And just kind of checking in. And I think Kev was like, it wasn't the sentiment of what you said. It was the language you used. And I was like, what do you mean? It's like, well, it sounds like you're frustrated with them. I'm like, yeah, I am very frustrated with them. And he's like, but you said they were unlikable. And he's like, they're not the Jailblazers. And I'm like, well, whatever. I wasn't careful with my words. Who gives a shit? And he's like,
oh my God,
John. And I was like, you know what?
So it took Kevin to get home the thing I've been saying for 5 years, that you say things into a microphone and people hear them. That's all it took. But it's Kevin Danishevsky saying the thing that you can't just say things into a microphone with no consequences.
But specifically in this instance, it was the vocabulary that because I'm always a stickler for every word has meaning, right? I'm always the one who says that. Your words have meaning. I've said a lot of stupid shit, but this is the one where I think more than any of all the other stupid shit that I've said, it was the specific, the word unlikable, when that's not even really what I meant. It really was frustration. This team frustrates me more than any good team I've ever watched. But like unlikable, what is unlikable? There you go.
Don't stop believing, John. Plenty of basketball left to play, Knicks fans. And we'll be here for the next crash out. I believe the over-under on the Claudio Casino recap was 1.5 more times that the season would end, and we're hit 1. So let's see if we get 1 more so we hit the over, which might actually just be the season ending. And we will be here for when the next night they get a big win and we get a this fucking team to open the postgame show. Speaking of, we're going to do the next segment presented by our friends at Fanatics Sportsbook. Shout out to our friends at Fanatics Sportsbook. And they have started things off with a FanCash super chat, John. By all means.
Can I read it?
Yes.
All right. Let's go. Here's $93.75. That's a very specific total. Why would they have that total? In FanCash, which was the score when the Knicks started their biggest comeback of the season, right in KD's face. See KD in the Javits Center at Fanatics Fest this summer and use promo code Knicks Film 10. They put it right there, so I don't have to go searching through my text for it. Knicks Film 10 for 10% off your tickets. And I didn't even realize that KD was going to be there this summer. We'll see what team that he finds out live on stage he's being traded to this summer. Keep believing in this likable team, Knicks fans. Plenty of basketball left. # deep breaths, Macri.
It's from all of us at Fanatics Sportsbook. Yes. Okay. I'm going to go. I just, full disclosure, as I mentioned, I landed when the third quarter ended. So.
Did you watch the fourth?
I watched it like in the Uber. Well,
So you were doing it on the. Okay.
I was watching it like.
Got it.
As I was traveling from JFK to my place, which you're not allowed to say publicly, by the way, where my place is.
Where were you specifically when Durant's final shot attempt as the buzzer ran out?
In my place, in a location that you're not allowed to say publicly.
I'm not blowing up I'll blow up my own spot. I'm not blowing up your spot.
Because you've never done that before. Said where you in one ear out the other. I swear. Words matter unless you say them, then they don't exist anymore. I now need to go make a run to whatever's open because apparently I left Florida. We left Florida, and a historic blizzard is coming our way.
Wow.
So I'm going to go get ready. Stay warm, Knicks fans. Stay safe, New York. And as always, don't stop believing in this very likable basketball team.
Yes. I had a funny feeling we were going to get an Andrew Claudio pop in tonight. I had a funny feeling. I just knew. Now, I think it was a much more entertaining pop in than we would have gotten had they lost the game in the way that looked like they were going to lose. But
I'm just letting you know this right now. Had the Knicks lost tonight, a lot of us might have just joined you and be like, hey, you know what? Maybe they should just blow up the team. Maybe he's right. Maybe if they just lost like that and gave up, it was either that or Drew from PR was going to get rehired and just read a statement on behalf of the Knicks Film School faculty.
There you go.
Yeah, we had to make this fun somehow. And thankfully, a Knicks win is always fun. Or as a now unemployed coach once said, winning is more fun than fun is fun.
Winning is more fun than fun is fun. Winning is more fun than crash outs are fun. Definitely. Read that somewhere. Okay. I think that's it for the opening, which lasted a little bit longer than usual. So I'm sure there are going to be some spirited comments tonight, is my guess. And I look forward to handling all of them with the same poise that I approached the recent show with. Oh, we only had one during the game. Okay, that's actually not bad. Guy Hooper starts us off. Okay. I have a lot of love for Josh, but send him and Mikal to China next season. Oh, my God. I can't keep doing this line, and it won't change so long as he's a Knick. Incredible win. Go Knicks. Look, I had someone else who I'm not going to say publicly, but someone whose basketball opinion I respect a lot. Maybe as much as anyone in my life. I don't know if he's watching right now, but say to me that Jose Alvarado and Landry Shamet bring everything to the table that Mikal Bridges doesn't. And Mikal Bridges should be an eighth man on this team. I don't know if I quite would go that far. Look, the Mikal Bridges experience can be frustrating. The Josh Hart experience can be frustrating. I would say that, Hart usually offsets the game. Like, there was a lot of bad Hart tonight. He usually offsets that stuff with other things. And you look at his stat line, and he had 6 rebounds, and he had 6 assists. I did not feel Josh's positive impact on this game to offset the negatives that he was clearly bringing. But usually he does. Mikal, I think it's a little bit more, the floor is usually higher. Like, even tonight, he was 5 of 11 for 11 points. Like, had 6 rebounds, had 5 assists. Like, it's a perfectly fine stat line. And yet, you watch a lot of these games, and you're like, man, what's the impact really? Is it where I want it to be? Look, they're imperfect players. Part of why this team is an imperfect team. And look, here's the good news. They have enough depth now where you could actually survive a game where Josh is terrible and Mikal is underwhelming. And they did survive it. So that's a great job by them. Thanks, Huber, for starting us off. All right. Haitian. What's going on, man? Credit to Kat, Jose, and Mikal Bridges going too small to speed the game up in the fourth quarter. Yes, I absolutely great call by you. I did think they not Mikal Bridges, Mike Brown. Yes, that's a better call. So Kat, Jose, and Mike Brown going to small to speed up the game in the fourth quarter. Tibbs wouldn't have gone small. Got a call like I saw it. JB didn't force the action, and having Jose with him killed Houston's defense. Let's fucking go. Haitian, I know you were down about as bad as I was after the last game. So for you to say this, I think speaks volumes. Not only going small in terms of the lineup, but this I will give Benji credit for. He went 5 out too. And I saw Benji tweeted about that. So, like, look, I've talked a lot about 5 out and about how I think there's a little bit too much emphasis on 5 out. It does not mean it is not and should not still be a huge part of their formula for winning. Clearly, it was a massive part of their formula for winning tonight. So, yeah, great stuff. Thanks, Haitian. Dr. Crawford. Hello, Dr. Crawford. Brunson took too many shots at the end. # fire tips. I do want to go back in time and show the tape of the end of this game to everybody who was killing JB. What game was that? Was that the Indiana game, right? That's the Indiana game they lost before the break. Yeah. Look, he's Jalen Brunson. You put the ball in his hands. You trust the outcome. That's all there is to it. It's not that complicated. So sometimes it works out in his favor. Sometimes it doesn't. Tonight, it did. And thankfully, they benefited from it. Thanks, Dr. Crawford. Pundertaker, love the comeback. Hey, and thanks again. You're the dude who was super generous the other night. So one more thank you to you for that. Team still feels very weird to watch at times. Weird? What's weird? What's something weird about looking like an absolute dead in the water, like carcass of a basketball team for really 2 quarters, like almost 2 full quarters, and then absolutely play some of the most spirited, inspired basketball that you could ever hope to see a team play in the regular season. Like, they are the most weird team. And it is only their weirdness that I think inspires the great disparity of opinions about them, both in how they play and how they should play and how they don't play, and also just how people feel about them. Anyway, I'm not sure it's effort as much as a bunch of guys who still feel oddly uncomfortable with each other way too often. Well, notice that, you know what lineup got 0 minutes in the fourth quarter? The starting lineup. And I don't want to put a damper on anything here. And you could boil that down to Josh Hart not playing except for the final 6 seconds of the game, because everybody else, OG played all 12, Cat played essentially all 12, Bridges played 7, Brunson played 6. But, like, how many times have we said it? It's the starting 5. Hold on, I'll pull it up right now. Starting 5 tonight. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. They were outscored by 1, but that's because they got off to a nice start. But that starting 5 looked dreadful to start the third quarter. So I don't know. Again, talking about word choice, I don't know if uncomfortable is the word that I'd use. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but those concerns are still very much there for me. Thanks, Pundertaker. Danishevsky, my guy. Brown and JB deserve all the credit. Well, I think there's a lot of credit to go around, but yeah, they definitely deserve some of the credit. Rough 3 quarters for both of them, but JB with every big shot down the stretch. 5 out and Alvarado for Macau, brilliant. And again, what does that say about what Brown thinks of Bridges? I don't know that it says anything about it. It definitely says that he was playing for the win, which is why, Kev, and again, I was texting with a lot of people during this game tonight. Someone pointed out during the stretch of time where Mike Brown was going with Muhammad Diawara, Jeremy Sohan, and Mitchell Robinson all on the floor at the same time in the third quarter, as this game was slowly deteriorating and really getting away from the Knicks. This person pointed out, like, hey, they're like this is as obvious a sign as anything that they just don't, like, not that they don't care, but like that Mike Brown is using the regular season for experimentation, which by definition means that winning is not the top priority. And this is where I feel a little conflicted, because so here's how I would put it. If you want to limit guys' minutes, although obviously he didn't do that tonight because OG Anunoby played 40 and he needed to play all 40 of those. But if you want to limit guys' minutes, that's fine. I'm cool with limiting guys' minutes. If you want to sit guys all together in some games, that's fine. We're not going to give it we're not just going to give it our all. We're going to kind of half-ass this one. That to me is never fine. And then there's the in-between stuff. Like, all right, you're in a close game. You've just suffered a really bad loss. You were up big in the beginning of this game. and then it starts to get away from you. The other team is making a push, and you're going with this lineup that's like, again, you're trying to figure some stuff out, right? You're trying to figure out what you have in Sohan. You're trying to figure out what you still have in Mo and the whole thing. I was watching that, and I'm like, okay, I get it. He's experimenting. He told us in a press conference the other night, like, yeah, I don't have a lot of time left. I got to see what I have in Sohan. And I guess I was just watching and be like, is this the moment for that? You know? And if like I don't want to be negative about this, but like if they had lost this game by 2 points or 3 points or 4 points or something, you better believe I'd be sitting here reflecting back on that stretch, and I don't have it in front of me what they got outscored by exactly in that stretch, but it was like, you know, that lineup didn't have it. So I don't know. I don't know what to do with that. I don't, again, just being honest, I feel very conflicted about all this. I don't know what the right answer is. I understand the importance of experimentation during the regular season, something that Tibbs did not do. And I think even me last season was like, there needs to be some more room for that. And yet watching that lineup go out there in the third quarter, I'm like, man, there's something about this doesn't really rub me the right way. But as you say, Kevin, he made up for it. So there you go. Hush Zoo, what's going on, Hush? Was going to rip Mike a new one with these lineup choices, speak of the devil, but the Jose sub in saved him. Captain Clutch, the nickname earned for a reason, took us home. Yes. Yeah, and again, it's like, how much do you rip Mike when it's intentional? Some of this stuff, you know, I would assume it's intentional, you know, in terms of like knowing that this is probably not going to go well. But no, he made all the right choices down the stretch. It's like, again, I like, how much do they care about winning versus not? You know, it's like it's a tough one to decipher. But they won the game, and that's all that matters. Yeah, Mark, we want to flash those picks? Might as well. So we got our second straight defensive player of the game win for Jose Alvarado. Well deserved. I think you could have given it to OG Anunoby tonight. See the picture here. Nice pose from Cat. Sohan fits right in. Jordan Clarkson making an interesting face there. Yeah, very nice picture. Well deserved from Alvarado. I think you could have given it to OG. I think OG doing yeoman's work on Kevin Durant all night was pretty freaking impressive. But like, listen, you definitely don't win the game without those big defensive plays from Jose. So there you go. Thanks, Hush. Riyadh, what's going on? Too old for this shit. Yeah, that's the other. Listen, I'm too old for all of this. I'm too old for going viral. I'm too old for these games. I'm too old for this fucking team. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I'm just too old for this team. Maybe this is just a young man's team, and I don't have the ticker for it anymore. But yeah, did we suddenly forget how to play defense and defense? Offense and defense after the break. P.S. I'd sign up for that version of Cat every night. Yeah, man. Look, so here's the thing. I loved their approach out of the gate in this game. I thought and again, it's so much of it comes back to OG for me, because, and which is talk about going back to things I said in the past that were mocked at the time. When I made the statement several months ago, or asked the question openly, is OG Anunoby the Knicks' most important player? Like, go watch the first half of this game, or really the entirety of this game, and then watch the Detroit game. And it, like, again, Brunson's our most important player, but Brunson was brilliant for the entire night from a scoring perspective against Detroit. And tonight did really very little for the first half, nothing for the first half, and then, it turned it on late. OG was a nightmare defensively on Thursday. It was awesome tonight. One game they get beaten by 15, and this game tonight they win by 2. Now, granted, it took a big comeback, but still. So his defense, especially when there's a player on the other team like a Cade Cunningham or like a Kevin Durant, it not only is it not only does it matter, from a game plan perspective, as like we can put one defender on this guy and feel like he is limiting him, but like there's a domino effect. I think a trickle down effect of everything else. And when you feel like, okay, OG's got this guy, let's all just make sure we cover our asses and then we'll be fine. I just think it changes everything. So he's such a big part of it. So I like their defensive approach out of the break. And then I just think they got kind of down on themselves. Cat to me is the star of the game, but I think it did kind of start with him. Both of those corner threes were his responsibility, and he, was late getting out. So, look, they got to be better defensively. They got to clean this stuff up, but they figured it out. So that's all that matters. And yes, I agree. I'd sign up for, despite those couple of defensive lapses, I would also sign up for this version of Cat every night. Thanks, Riyadh. Paul, what's going on, Paul? The bipolar Knicks. That's a good way to describe them. Win of the season so far. Have to use this momentum and build on it. Defense, JB, and Jose Alvarado stole this one. I hope they build on it. Again, it's a very, very humble request. Take this. Remember how it feels. Be like, this is what we need to do to win. Let's do it. The Knicks are back in third place. I mean, it's the same record as Cleveland, but they're back in third place. And that's the other reason, why I can't get fully behind the notion that we're just going to punt the rest of the regular season. If they had lost this game, they would be one game in the loss column ahead of the Raptors for fifth place. You can't tell me that a team that came into the season basically neck and neck with the Cavs for third best title odds, and everybody uniformly agreeing this is the Knicks' best chance at a title in 30 plus years. You can't tell me that going into a season as the fifth seed in a year in which, they've been hurt by injuries a little bit, but you've been pretty healthy, more or less, especially in comparison to some other teams. You've been healthy enough, you can't tell me that going into the playoffs as a 4 or 5 seed wouldn't have a little bit of an impact, mentally. So to your point, Paul, yes, use this and build on it and finish strong and finish with the 2 seed in the East like you're capable of doing. Please, I beg of you, for my own sanity. Thank you. Okay. I am AK Legend in Will Smith voice for Cat. Now that's how you play basketball. From now on, that's how you play ball. Jose, I love your energy and defense. Yes. Yes. I agree. Iceman Sham, what's going on? I haven't heard from you in a while, Iceman. This team had me checked out, and now they want to pull me back in. I hate this shit. Speaking of things that I did on vacation, Andrew popped up the puzzle that I did, which I was very proud of. I also accomplished the other goal that I had for my break. Thank you for putting it back up there, Mark. It was a really fun puzzle to do. I strongly big fan of puzzles. If everybody out there is thinking maybe I should try a puzzle, try it. It's the most therapeutic thing in the world. I started and finished my book that I referenced a couple times, The Last Kings of Hollywood, about Steven Spielberg, Francis Ford Coppola, and George Lucas. And this quote, of course, every time I'm out, they pull me back in from Godfather 3, a movie that Coppola did purely because he needed a paycheck, which is, unfortunate. But I don't know why I just thought of that. But it's, this is who they are. This is what they do. I'll never be completely checked out on them. no matter whether I'm doing this stuff or not. But they test you. And it's more than just like, look, we're all fans. We've all been watching the sport for a long time. We've all been watching this team for a long time. A lot of us probably watch other sports. I get it. Like, you have bad losses in the season. You have big wins, you have bad losses, you have times where the team looks bad, you have times where the team looks good. What this team manages to do in how they look bad and the ways they look bad and that's really the thing that really got me, was like just looking like they didn't want to be out there and looking like we don't want to be out here with the other guys that we're out here with. And couple that with the things you hear and some of the stuff that's been reported, where it's just like you're convinced that this team is just counting the days to the offseason. The way that they are maddening is, I with all due respect to every other NBA team, I just think it's to a different level. And so when you say, Iceman Sham, the team had me checked out and now they want to pull me back in, I'm sitting here and I'm telling you, like, you and me both, man. Like, it's not crazy. There's something about this team, about the way they are, and it's just, yeah, it is what it is. KBN Andor, what's going on, KBN? The two smallest guys, Jose and Shamet, along with Soft Cat, were the ones that kept fighting and brought us back. Well, again, I've said a lot of bad shit about Cat. One thing, and God is my witness, that I have always pushed back on is the notion that he is a soft player. I don't think he's soft. I think he is. He lets things get to him that prevent him from being the best player that he can be. And then I think that there is some above the neck stuff that he has to continue to work on. But he's not soft. He's not soft. He's never been a soft player. And I do think that there is a great deal of self-confidence in him, which is why it's almost baffling that he could have allowed this season to, I don't want to say deteriorate. It's probably too strong a word for a guy who just made the All-Star team, but to like let this season get to where it did from an individual standpoint, because he does have the confidence. Like, if there's, listen, say a lot, anything you want to say about Cat, he's confident in his own abilities. And you don't usually see this level of drop off in a guy who's that confident. And it was a good reminder of what he could do when he's going. As far as Jose and Shamet, like, look, I've been singing Shamet's praises all year. Jose, awesome addition to the team. Thanks, Kavian. Hush with another one. We ripped the guy a lot. I thought Cat was incredible, had an incredible two-way game. The two-way part's a little strong for me. I thought the defense got much stronger as the game got on. I did not love it earlier in the game, but he defended when it mattered, which, look, tonight, that was enough. Could have been a bit better on the rebounds, but he was seriously awesome. Need this Cat all year. Yeah, look, there were a couple of moments. There were one at the beginning of the third quarter that I didn't really go after a ball, and I think it was Eason got the putback, and Josh Hart was a little displeased on that one. And then there was another one that the one that annoyed me was Shamet had a great box out of, I forget who it was, on the baseline. And whoever and the ball was there, and he was boxing out, and Cat was the other Nick there. Like, it was Cat's job to go and get the ball, and he was a little bit late getting it. And whoever the Houston player was, like, tipped it to his teammate who scored a basket. But yeah, there were a couple of those, but overall, like you said, great game from Cat. Another one from Hush here. I'd like Brown to stop being so strict with the minutes. If Cat's cooking, keep him in a bit longer. Sohan and Mitch should never be on the same floor together. I mean, the three-pointer he took tonight was not ideal. It's not what you want. In terms of being strict with the minutes, clearly he's not strict with the minutes because OG Anunoby just played 40. I don't know. I didn't really have. I mean, Cat played the entire fourth quarter pretty much. Did you? If you thought he should have left Cat in longer in the third. Here's the thing. I don't necessarily agree with that. I thought the lineup that he put in when he took Cat out was absurd, frankly. Like, there's experimentation for good. I get it. I don't know what you're going to learn by putting out a lineup of Jeremy Sohan, Mohamed Diawara, and Mitchell Robinson, which is a lineup that there is 0% chance, 0% chance, not 2, not 1, 0% chance those three guys will ever play a minute together in the postseason. So if you're going to experiment with the focus on the bigger goal here, experiment with lineups that actually have a chance to play in the playoffs. That would be my only pushback there. Thanks, Hush. Bill Peterfriend. This team confounds, frustrates, draws you back. Amazing comeback. Still likable. Let's fucking go next. Yeah, no. I mean, look, tonight was great. Tonight was great. I loved tonight. I mean, I was sitting there. So I watched the game downstairs. We got back. Our flight landed. Andrew obviously just got back a little while ago. Our flight landed at about 5:30. Came home. Went to the local diner with my brother-in-law. Had a nice little dinner. Came home. I managed to unpack both of the kids' suitcases before game time, which I was very proud of. And sat down here and I was watching the game. I liked how they came out. And again, like I'll always be upfront with you guys. I was absolutely the whole response to the Thursday post game. It 100% was bothering me, and it was on my mind for the last 48 hours. So I was thinking all day, like how am I going to open the post game? How am I going to address this? All that stuff. And I'm watching the game, and I'm like, and they came out great. And I'm like, all right, well, okay, they shut me up, like, or maybe not, maybe it's actually feeding exactly into what I was going to say or what I was saying, which is like, how can you get behind a team that is this infuriatingly inconsistent? And then it started going the other way. And I'm like, oh, wow. And I'm watching this. I'm like, shit, I didn't want to be this right. And then they made the comeback, and I refused to believe that the comeback was real until I'll tell you the exact moment because I want to get a timestamp on it. It was fourth quarter. Where is it? No, it wasn't that. There it was. With 1:14 left to go, the Knicks had just tied it up. And Durant turned the ball over out of bounds. And that was the first time. It was the first time I clapped. Again, by myself in my basement. But it was the first time I clapped. When they tied it up and Durant lost the ball out of bounds, I was like, holy shit. They might win this fucking game. Yeah, man. They're an infuriating team, but they can be likable sometimes. They can be. And they were tonight. Dub, what's going on, Dub? Watch this game from a hospital bed. Jesus, I hope you're okay, Dub. Fresh from having my gallbladder removed. Well, tonight's not a chat of the night night, but if it was, you'd be getting it. My vitals were all over the place during the game. I'm surprised they let you watch it. Worth it. Hashtag let's fucking go next. Well, that's awesome, man. I hope you're doing okay. I hope you're healthy now that you got your gallbladder removed. I don't know if a gallbladder is something you need. If it is something you need, I hope they figure out a way to get that stuff to you. If it's not something you need, then who gives a fuck? Rest up. Thanks, though. J Mac 9999. I like that. We got a bunch from J Mac. Very generous contribution. Thank you, Jay. Point 1. Can you expand on why you think Leon will be gone if this team disappoints in the playoffs? Firing Leon screams Brunson wanting out to me, which is worst case scenario for a team with little future draft assets. Let me answer this first, and then I'll go to the next one. I don't think it has anything to do with Brunson. I don't think Brunson wants to go anywhere. I just think, look, James Dolan is who he is. He was upset very clearly after how the last postseason ended, and he seemed to feel pretty strongly that it was the fault of the coach. And I would assume that Leon Rose had an opportunity to suggest to him that, no, it wasn't the coach's fault. There were other issues at play here, and chose not to, and said, no, it's the coach. And so let's get a new coach. And so now they have a new coach. And the implication in hiring a new coach is that was the issue, and now the issue has been fixed. And when you're a head of basketball that goes out and makes two not only affirmative moves, they were not reactionary moves, they were affirmative moves, they were aggressive moves to bring in Mikal Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns. If the team does not make the finals this year, or God forbid, the Eastern Conference Finals this year, and either of those two guys do not play in the manner that one might expect them to play, and they have gotten a lot of attention and not all of it good, this season, then what is James Dolan then going to say? He's going to say, well, you told, I thought it was the coach, and you agreed with me. You said it was the coach. So why am I sitting here with an even worse result, or the same result, or whatever it is? Like, what gives? And the answer is going to be, well, we still have some tinkering to do. And I'm going by history. What can I tell you? I don't think James Dolan is a necessarily patient man. I think he's patient up to a point. I think he's become more patient. I think he's shown more patience in certain spots. But if he has a team like he feels like, hey, I've been sold a bill of goods that this team is a championship contender, which we know he believes that because he went on the radio and he told it. People who listen to that radio interview focus on I'm not going to step on Leon's toes. It's Leon's deal, this and the other. I focus on we got to make the finals. That's the only relevant part of that interview to me, was him saying we got to make the finals. Not we should, not we might, we got to. Because again, it's very clear implication. If you say you have to do something and you're the one in charge, and then they don't do it, well, then your words either have no meaning, or you're going to do something about it. You want to tell me that he's going to go back into Leon's office and demand that Leon trade player X, player Y, player Z? I suppose he could do that. You want to tell me he's going to ask Leon to hire a new coach? Maybe. But track record, not very long in terms of James Dolan allowing lead executives to hire multiple coaches, or 3 coaches, because this would be 3. So that, not really much more of not really in a nutshell, because I kind of talked for a while there, but that's the short answer, as short an answer as I could give, as why I think Leon, there's a significant chance that Dolan would make a change at the top. The one scenario that I could see unfolding that would, if they did disappoint in the playoffs, but that would save Leon's job, is if immediately after the disappointment in the playoffs, Leon was able to go to Dolan and say, I got Giannis coming. It's going to happen. And then Dolan would say, okay, well, then get me Giannis. But we'll see. Hopefully none of that happens. Thanks, J Mac. We got another couple here from J Mac. Point 2, would Leon's Brunson connection not give him a longer leash? You can only blame the coach once, but I saw Dolan keep Mills around for much longer during worse times. We could go back. You're talking about the second Mills instance, right? Steve Mills sold James Dolan a bag of goods. That 2019, summer of 2019, that's where we're like, I understand there was some stuff that went on before that, but he was like, summer 2019, summer 2019, summer 2019. And then summer 2019 happened. It didn't go the way they wanted. And Dolan was like, what is this? And Steve was like, it's all right. It's not plan A, it's plan B or C or whatever the fuck he said. And Dolan's like, okay. And he gave it, what did he give it? 6 months? What did Mills get fired? In December? Or no, sorry, not December, in February. So I don't know that I would say that Dolan kept Mills around for much longer. As the lead exec, he did not. And then as far as the Brunson connection, not giving Leon a longer leash, I just don't. I don't think that that's going to have an impact on Dolan's decision one way or the other. That's my guess. And then one more from J-Mac here. Point 3, I'll never expect Dolan to act logically. Well, there you go. But I'm surprised you expect it to happen if a team falls short this year. Apologies. I wrote all of this when I thought we were going to lose. No, man, it's all good. I appreciate it. I'm going on precedent. I'm going on precedent. I feel like he has shown us enough times who he is and how he acts. And as you said, you don't necessarily expect him to act logically, but you never know. I just think let's make it just super simple. If James Dolan has expectations and those expectations are not met, someone is going to pay. That is every ounce of his track record speaks to that singular reality. That if he has an expectation that he feels should be met and it is not met, someone is going to pay. So it's just a question of who. That's the only question. It's just a question of who. And who's the next guy on the chopping block? Thanks, Jay. Ariops. What's going on, Ariops? Macri. It's ELZ, the minor genius. Awesome. Salute to you and the crew. Knicks need to hire a hypnotist for Cat's hooking and McCall's stupid fadeaways as they can't get out of their own way. Mike, oh my God. What was the fucking shot that Bridges took in this game? It was on like a breakaway. It wasn't Mark's shaking his head. It was one of the more infuriating shots that he has taken as a Knick. And I was watching it, and I think shout out to New York Basketball, greatest Twitter account on the internet. I think tweeted out like, "Come on, McCall." It was, and yet to his credit, there was a moment later in the game. I think they're at a big spot where he did take it hard to the hoop. So but just it's not ideal. Cat 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 had an offensive foul tonight. I don't think he did the hook thing. If he did, I forgot. I don't think he did though. So credit to him for that. He got Mark saying he kind of did. I might have missed it. Jessica, an unlikable team with a likable win. No, listen. You can't hate on anything. You can't hate on tonight, And I appreciate you, Jessica, always trying to come to my defense. I would not wish that on my worst enemy, let alone someone that I think as highly of as you. So please don't feel the need to do that again. No, they're maddening. That's the better, more accurate word. They're maddening. They're not unlikable. They're maddening. Appreciate you, Jess. Danishevsky with another one. On the negative side, neither McCall nor Josh's starting spot is safe. Oh, Kevin's breaking news here. Both were awful tonight, especially Josh. I would agree that Josh was Josh the worst player in the game tonight for the Knicks. I'm not even counting Sohan or Diawara because they played 4 minutes each. Yeah, I think Josh is pretty comfortably the worst player for the Knicks in the game. And on the plus side, Cat had his best all-around night this year, in my opinion. Again, I saw some stuff on defense I didn't like, but maybe I'm just predisposed to see the bad stuff from Cat on defense. I would not put it past myself to see those things more clearly. Not to say that I'm like watching for bad Cat defensive stuff. I feel like I happen to notice it a lot, but it was awesome. It was his. Can we say this? Could we say it was Cat's most important game of the season in a positive way? I think that's very fair. I think it was Cat's most important game of the season. Let's hope it carries over. And by the way, we got a pick and pop 3. I forgot about that. We got a pick and pop 3 courtesy of Jalen Brunson, which was great. Hush with another one. I found it funny that the 2 best defenders in the clutch were the 2 smallest players on the court. Heart over height, just when you thought you were out. Yeah, it's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. Again, though, sorry to bring it back again to this, but if you're looking for reasons why I have a tendency to crash out sometimes and really lose my patience with this team, you have Mikal Bridges, a guy who was finished second in Defensive Player of the Year voting not that long ago, and who you got specifically because of what he did. I know you wanted him to be a tertiary creator and hit the open threes and all that stuff too. You got him for his defense, right? You got him for his defense. You got him. And then you got OG Anunoby, a guy who everybody agrees has as much talent as any big perimeter defender in the league. And there are so many times where you watch those 2 guys on defense, and I understand Mikal gets a lot more shit from it than OG because at least OG balances the moments where he is not looking good on defense with, again, games like tonight where it's like, holy shit, this guy's guarding Kevin Durant and doing it effectively. Mikal has not had really very many, really, or any of those moments on the ball this year. So you have these 2 guys with all this talent and all this defensive ability, and you feel like you don't see it nearly as much as you need to. Now, I think with OG, it's a consistency thing. With Mikal, it's a physicality thing. You know, really being willing to mix it up, and the question of like, does he have enough shit to him? Jose Alvarado has all the shit. He has a fucking pigsty's worth of shit to him. And Shamet too. Like, seriously. I know he doesn't have Jose's reputation. That dude, he's no pushover. You know, but yeah. Oh, that's what the play was that I was alluding to it earlier. When the hell was it? Hold on. Oh, that's right. The final possession of the first quarter. It was a defensive-only possession. 4.6 seconds left. Mike Brown had a chance to make substitutions to get his defense first lineup in the game. And you know what defense first lineup he put in the game was? Landry Shamet, OG Anunoby, Jeremy Sohan, Mitchell Robinson, along with Jalen Brunson. Now, why was Jalen Brunson in the game? Because Jalen Brunson was taking 2 free throws, so he could not sub out Jalen Brunson. So we had Shamet with OG Shamet, or OG Sohan and Mitch instead of Mikal. Again, tells you everything you need to know about what Mike Brown thinks about his defensive hierarchy. Thanks, Hush. Jason M. What's going on, Jason? Was almost out on the team. They pulled me back. Shout out to Brown for pulling hard. First time I can remember Cat and JB playing well at the same time. Jason, as usual, you spotlight something that I don't think of, and that is a fantastic point. The thing that I was thinking throughout a large portion of the game was actually the exact opposite of what you were saying. Because Cat was getting going offensively, and I'm like, sure enough, it's a night when Jalen Brunson can't do anything offensively. that Cat's doing great offensively. Wouldn't it be great if we could get this at the same time? Before tonight, and I agree with you, they both had exceptional fourth quarters, and they were like kind of playing off each other in the right way. I can't wait to go back and watch the fourth quarter. I really can't. The last time I think that they both had really good offensive games against a quality team was game one of against Indiana. Which again gets lost. Those performances will get lost to time, but they were both exceptional offensively in that game. But yeah, fourth quarter, great stuff. Thanks, Jason. Appreciate that. KBN with another one. I hope this game is to Cat what Iron Man was to Robert Downey Jr. It's a great comp. What was... I think they mentioned this on a recent episode. Was it the Rewatchables? I think they mentioned this, but like Robert Downey Jr. was in the running for some role before Iron Man, a few years before Iron Man, and he couldn't get insured. The studio wouldn't insure him because he was such a drug addict or whatever the case may be. But he eventually got back to it, and then he had that role. Was Cat uninsurable the way he was playing for much of the season? I don't know. Look, if this gets Cat going and we finally get the full Karl Anthony Towns, as opposed to the guy who came into this game with the worst effective field goal percentage of his career and who was a barely above average efficiency guy in terms of centers, big men around the league. If this gets him going, man, we'll see. Also, by the way, we haven't touched on it at all because the game was so crazy. Some very interesting Mike Brown press conference comments before the game. And Ian Begley had a whole... When Ian thinks enough to put out an article on a pregame press conference during a game, it's notable. I retweeted it. I would implore everybody to go read that. I would also implore everybody to go read the Ian's missive that he put out early in like 1:30 in the morning after the Detroit game, in terms of his humble suggestions for hierarchy and how it isn't clear that there is one, within the Knicks right now. I'll just say all that was very interesting, which to me speaks to that maybe some of these issues have generated not as much with a lack of ability, but with just some other stuff going on. What I love about your analogy, KBN, and then we'll move on, is with Robert Downey Jr., it was never a question of ability. He was always one of the most gifted actors. I think, wasn't he nominated for Best Actor for Chaplin, I think, in like 1990? I hope I didn't get that wrong. No, was it that late? 92. Oh, I was so close. But so yeah, it was never a question of ability. So yeah, nor is it with Karl Anthony Towns. Will Oliver, credit to Brown's crucial adjustments in the fourth. Yeah, I don't know if I'd say adjustments. I think he just put the right lineups out there, and they were playing fast. But again, you put Jose Alvarado on the court with Landry Shamet, like those guys are going to play fast for sure. But it was good. Listen, other than the inexplicable lineup that he put out there, I think it was a perfectly well coached game from Brown. Ian Ski Guy, shout out Brown for burning bridges and riding the hot hand of Alvarado. Need more of that when a player isn't playing well. Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of people had a lot of issues with Tibbs. That was among the most maddening, which is that it didn't matter about how a guy was performing during a game. If he would just always revert back to his guys, and Mike Brown very clearly has told you multiple times this season that he ain't going to do that. Doesn't matter if it's Karl-Anthony Towns. Doesn't matter if it's Mikal Bridges. That's why I said that the interior of the circle of trust for Mike Brown, I think there's really only two guys in it. It's Brunson and OG. That's it. Hart didn't play the whole fourth quarter tonight. Thanks, Ian. Okay. Gotcha, Mark. Zebo, what's going on, Zebo? All right, 5'5", 52. Dr. Bob Horowitz, Sax Bob, was born at Brooklyn Jewish Hospital. I got to think that's why I'm a fan. He lived life fully before saying farewell on Valentine's Day of this year. Living a life of laughter and love, and carried that till the end. We got another one coming up from Zebo here, so I'll read that too. Not a big fan, but always asked how the Knicks were doing. I can only hope to be 1/10 of the dad he was. Thought I'd give him a shout out to another awesome dad who I look up to figuratively. I got jokes. Zebo, that's beautiful. Shout out to your dad. Lived 52, was it? Right? 52 he was born. So, sure, not nearly as long as you would have liked to have him around for. But I know, we've interacted a lot in the past, enough for me to know that you're a great dude. And I think you're not giving yourself nearly enough credit. Although I also know that you mean it when you say your dad was that level of father. I wish I had some advice to give you. Again, peeling back the curtain, we my dad's my dad and mom separated my entire life, but his widow, longtime wife, who we still keep in touch with, we had lunch with her down when we were in Florida, because she also lives down in Florida. So we saw her Friday morning, of course, after that game, and she was telling me that she can't bring herself to watch the Knicks yet, because when she watches them, she thinks of Pat, and same thing with it was football, the Jets towards the end of their season, and the Yankees when they were playing. But seeing her was encouraging, because she loved my dad more than anybody, and it's like it took a very big toll on her losing him, and she's doing okay. She's doing all right. She's like, every day is easier than the last. And I guess that's the best I could do for advice to you, is that every day will be easier than the previous day. Not to say that there won't still be hard days, hard moments. But as they say, I guess in the Jewish faith, may his memory be a blessing. I will say that to you. May his memory be a blessing, because that's what you have now. And that's a beautiful thing, especially given how beautiful of a man it sounds like he was. Thanks, Ebo. Duran, what's going on, man? Gave him crap, but Cat earned the flex on that dunk. That and GTA got us going. JB brought it home. Listen, man, if Cat wants to play like this, he could flex, he could strut, he can stick his tongue out, he could do whatever silly nonsense he wants to do. Truly, I don't care. Whatever he wants to do, let him do it. If he plays like this, which, is that too much to ask for? You tell me. I don't think it is, but that's me. Thanks, Duran. Appreciate you as always, man. Oh, we got another one from Duran here. I can respect GMAC's fear of snakes. What I can't respect is his lack of last names for his contacts. Add that French Macri. I didn't even notice it. I didn't even notice that. But I'll listen, Andrew, he's a strange man. What can I say? He marches to the beat of his own drummer. It's the only thing I could say for Andrew. Oh, you have the what?
I could be wrong here, but I think Duran's actually referring to Andrew's pregame interview, the contact that he had unawarely, I think, if that's a word, referenced you as Jonathan Macri as opposed to.
No, he didn't.
Yeah. But it's okay. I think it's okay. Maybe, Andrew and I.
Oh, that is what he's referencing. Oh, I thought you were I thought he was referencing the picture and like my name in the screenshot.
I don't think so. I don't know. I could be wrong, but
I did not get a chance to listen to the pregame pod. So
I texted Andrew and I said, from now on, anytime John's doom and gloom, that's actually Jonathan Macri. That's not Jonathan Macri.
No, I own it. I always own it. It's fine.
No, I just mean like from between him and I.
There is no.
Oh, we got Jonathan Macri again.
Yeah, no, there is no Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. There was only one. I did not know that I was referred to as Jonathan Macri.
Yeah, I wanted to give you the heads up.
That's good to know.
On accident, I'm sure.
I mean,
I honestly, I'm not sure how familiar he was.
Well, obviously he was not familiar.
Yeah.
But that's fine. I don't expect anybody to be familiar with me.
He will be, I'm sure. Sooner than that.
Why? These guys don't shit going on. All right. Now that I get it, that makes a lot more sense to Ron. Appreciate you. Hush with another one. Is it time for Hart to come off the bench? Nothing against Hart, but the spacing is so much better and Brunson can actually operate with no doubles. Look, I've defended Josh Hart a ton. I've poked a lot of fun at the people who, as I said, make cottage industries out of the notion that Josh Hart, his presence kills the Knicks offense. Josh Hart did not contribute to winning tonight. He usually does. He usually does a lot of things that contribute to winning. We also know that the starting five is not working. I think that is... I don't want to say that's an open and shut case at this point, but like the evidence, the proceedings have ended and the jury is deliberating and they're ready to come back with a verdict. There's just no universe where they're moving any of the other members of the starting five to the bench. They're just not. Like the notion that Mikal Bridges is going to be coming off the bench, that's never going to happen. You got a better chance of me being hired as the next fucking GM of the Knicks. It's not going to happen. So, what else is there to do? I don't know. I don't want to send Josh Hart to the bench because I feel like he is. Look, I don't want to rehash this. We've talked about this a million fucking times. There's a lot of reasons why I don't want to send Josh Hart to the bench. I don't think he deserves it. I think you're losing a lot of real positives. I think they could get around the spacing issues. You even, by the way, heard him talk with Jose. It's not like they don't know this is coming. Like he was talking to Alvarado. He was mic'd up, and it's like, yeah, if they put the 5 on me, say whatever he's going to say. It's not nuts. Hush. It's not nuts. If Mike Brown did it, I would have all the respect in the world for it. I'd be very curious to see how it worked. And again, I don't think it's nuts. But I would do it for a shooter. I would do it for Shamet until Deuce comes back. I would do it for Shamet. And yeah, I would see how it looked. Okay. We're going to do stat of the game. And I'm just typing something in the private chat as well. 15 is the stat of the game. What is 15? Well, 15 is the amount of points that the Knicks allowed in the fourth quarter. That is the second fewest points the Knicks have allowed in a fourth quarter of the season, behind only their blowout of the Nets. Great stat here from our guy, Jonah Kaufman. The margin of plus 18 in the fourth quarter. That's their second highest in the fourth quarter of the season. Again, only beating the Nets game, which is in a different category of game because that was a blowout. Puts the Knicks at plus 128 in fourth quarters of the season, tied for the fourth best point differential in the league. So there you go. And speaking of the fourth quarter defense, perfect transition, to my favorite play, I think. I was waffling before. Play of the fourth quarter in terms of defense, the one that you might say put me in the mood was Jose Alvarado's steal with, I want to get the exact timestamp because we are nothing if not sticklers for details here. Jose Alvarado's steal of Kevin Durant, and then the running layup that made it 103-101 with 1:56 to go. And the reason why I think that was the play that most put me in the mood tonight was because they had been, it was like the comeback was like really, really strong. And then it was interrupted first with the Eason make, but then Durant made a really, really, really tough 19-footer. It felt kind of deflating, and it made it 103-99. And then Shamet missed a pretty decent look from three. And it's like, oh no, the Rockets are going to go up 6 here. If they go up 6 here, you're like, the Knicks are not going to have enough to overcome that. And that's when Alvarado stole the ball from Durant and converted it. It was the biggest play of the game. And it was the play that put me in the mood. If you would like to be put in the mood with an online cannabis company that discreetly and directly ships federally legalized THC right to your door, well, you know what to do. All you got to do is go to mood.com and get 20% off your first order by using the code KFS. Again, you're going to mood.com. Use that code KFS to find your perfect mood, and get in the same state of mind that I was when Jose Alvarado made that sweet steal and basket. There you go. Shout out to Mood. Okay. Frank Miranda. Oh, my guy. Gotta take a sip of something before this. What's up, Mac? It's your boy Frank from Patreon. Great Cat and Alvarado game. Do not listen to the haters, Brother Mac. You was preaching for the nation of Patreon the other night. Minister Farajan. Oh, my God. Frank, you're going to get me canceled one of these days. I swear to you, you are going to get me. If you get me canceled, guess whose door I'm coming knocking on? It's you bastard. I'm going to make you hire me to do what? I don't know. Play-by-play commentary in your living room. Listen, one, if I ain't let all that shit get to me by now, I'm not going to. So you don't have to worry about that. More importantly, Karl-Anthony Towns and Jose Alvarado. Interesting combo. You know, one of the things that I think I have spent a lot of time thinking about this year that maybe hasn't gotten that much attention is how important, and I've mentioned this in the past, but still, is how important Campaign was to this team last year and how much we probably did not appreciate how important he was to Karl-Anthony Towns' success with the Knicks last season, as there were so many games where, as often was the case, Jalen Brunson gets going in the first quarter, and then it's Cat's time in the second quarter, and Campaign did an exceptional job of making sure that was always what would happen in second quarters, in fourth quarters. Obviously, we all remember the big fourth quarter comeback against Indiana in Game 3. But Campaign was so big in terms of so many of those big Cat moments last year. Alvarado, different sort of player, obviously, than Campaign, But you look at the similarities, like small guards, play fast, can shoot it above the break, likes to make pull-ups, take pull-ups, but and then here's the biggest thing that I think they share in common, both incredibly selfless ball players. And I think that's maybe the most underrated thing about Cam Payne when he was here, was he was just completely selfless. He was all about the team. And I think, that was so valuable. And I think Alvarado's the same way. And so you look at those two guys together. I'm not sure if it's actually too small of a sample size to even pay attention to, but I think the early returns on the Cat Alvarado pairing, I'm like encouraged. I want to see more, but I feel like there's a chance that those two guys could be really good together. So good to see them pull it out tonight. Thanks, Frank. Tony, what's going on, Tony? As much as I love him, time for a heart conversation. Is it? I'm asking. Is it time for a heart conversation? It might be. It might be. Josh Hart right now, very quickly. I don't want to spend too much time on this because we're going long, and I'm sure Mark, oh my God, it's 1 a.m. Jesus Christ. I'm sure Mark wants to get some sleep at some point. But Josh Hart at this point in the season, hang on. This should be reflective of tonight. So shooting about 50% from the field. He's down to he's at 45% or 40%, excuse me, not 45. 40% from three, even though he was 0 of 3 tonight, which tells you where he was coming into the game. So it's not his efficiency. If you're looking at plus minus, he was tonight, I would guess he was pretty bad. Tonight, he was a minus 21. No, that's not right. No, sorry. Jesus Christ. Mitchell Robinson was a minus 21. Josh Hart was a minus 14, which isn't great either. On the season, I want to say the Knicks are about the same whether Hart plays or whether he doesn't. Let me just check on that. They're plus 1. So their offense is a little bit better. Their defense is like a smidgen worse. I don't think this is reflective of tonight. But, that's the worst of any starter. Cat is their best out of the starters. Cat by far their best plus minus guy, followed by Anunoby and Brunson, who are in like a virtual tie, and then Mikal. Mikal's actually only a little bit better than Josh, so I shouldn't even make it out. It's Josh and Mikal in terms of the plus minus being not what you want it to be. I don't know. I'm here for the conversation. I will not be spearheading that conversation. I'll just say that. Thanks, Tony. Bulldog basketball promo. Amazing win. Genuine question. Why does our go-to out-of-bounds play at the end of games involve putting 2 players in the backcourt 70 feet away from the play? I just think it's because you could utilize the whole court in those plays, and you want to minimize the number of defenders who are in a small area. I think other teams do similar stuff, but I mean, look, they got it in. There was no heart attack moments. I mean, I guess it was pretty close to a 5-second, but they got it done. Thanks, Bulldog. Anthony Perino, what's going on? I like this team. I hear you, Anthony. I saw you and I hear you, and I'm glad. You should like the team. Chris Carter, what's going on, man? These next 9 games are going to suck. That should give us a sense of where they're at. I don't know. You think the next 9 games are going to suck? What are the next 9 games? Next 9. Tomorrow. That's not – they have to get on a plane tonight. Jesus Christ. Tomorrow in Chicago. Tuesday at Cleveland. And then 2 days off. Thank the good Lord. And then Friday at Milwaukee, which should be easy. Sunday matinee, San Antonio at home, back on the road at Toronto, back home, OKC, second night of a back-to-back, back on the road to Denver, who's going to be wanting some revenge, and then off to LA for a back-to-back against the Lakers and the Clippers. Is that 9? Yeah, that's 9. Yeah, that's pretty brutal. I mean, shit. I mean, you probably sign for over 500. Look, knowing this team, you tell me they go 2-7, I believe you. You tell me go 7-2, I believe you. But I think you probably have to sign for over 500. It would be really, really nice if they could get a win against the Bulls tomorrow, who are not like tanking, but they're not tanking. Like, they've moved now below Milwaukee in the standings. They've lost a shit ton of games in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They've lost 8 games in a row. The Bulls have. Like, I know it's the second night of a back-to-back. I know you expend a lot of energy on the comeback tonight. You better beat the fucking Bulls tomorrow if you're the Knicks. Thanks, Chris. Mark, what's going on, Mark? How you doing, buddy? I wish I could have bet on you opening this post game with this fucking team. Fanatics needs to get the odds up, man. They got to expand their horizons. Get on it, Fanatics. Yes. Seriously, I don't know what to make of this team, but grateful for the win. Look, they're not logical. They defy logic. They're imperfect. That's all they are. They're imperfect, and every team has imperfections. I think their imperfections are multifaceted and unique, and are the reason why that there are times when they could look like the best team in the league, and times where they look like a team that, again, makes someone who does this for a living say that they just don't like watching them. And everything in between. So that's where they are. Thanks, Mark. Punter Taker with another one. Cat gets grilled because he teases Jokic light potential in games like this when he's locked in, and he's a person you want to root for. I get what you're saying there. Yeah, he's his own worst enemy because you see the potential. Here's the thing, Undertaker, and I know you had another super chat, which I'll let me read the other super chat from you, and then I'll answer this. If the Knicks wanted an easier win, they should have told Alvarado to go for KD's phone instead of the ball. That's good. I like that. Yeah, I missed the whole. Again, when I'm on vacation, I unplug. So the first time I heard mention of, or I learned about the burner thing, was I was listening to the beginning of Zach Lowe's pod with Howard Beck, and they alluded to it. I'm like, well, I didn't know what that was a thing. On the cat point, no one needs him to be Jokic light or anything close to that. It's just about the consistency, and it's about buying in, and it's about playing like 85% of your possessions at both ends of the floor with the requisite attention to detail and being smart. Those two things. Be engaged, be present, know your scout. Like, just stuff that I think I personally, and again, this is where all of the criticisms that I have of Cat, all the criticisms that I have of this team, they all derive from the inevitable comparison from the team we watched 2 years ago. And that's another thing I saw, some people bringing up the January Knicks of 2024. It's not even like, I like the January 2024 Knicks. They were a really good team. They're awesome. Maybe that team could have won the championship. That's not the team that I fell in love with. I fell in love with the team that we saw after OG and Julius went down. The team that was like 3 games over 500 from January 27th until the end of the year. That's the team that I like, that like cursed me, because now because it is kind of still the same core, even though almost all the pieces have been changed out. That's the team that I'm just going to compare every other Knicks team of this era to, that team, where talk about attention to detail, talk about engagement, talk about locking in, talk about knowing your scout, and understanding and executing the game plan and all those sorts of things. That team made us take all that shit for granted, And so when I just want that stuff from Cat. Just give me that, And if we get that, then I'm a happy man. Then I'm a happy man. Thanks, Punter Taker. Couple from Parrish here. Parrish Duggar, my guy. Don't think fans realize when you watch every moment of every player's performance, you can't help but get frustrated with players unfairly way too much. Oh, look at Parrish coming to my defense. Another one from Parrish here. Hope the 12 angry podcaster men show a little more savvy and support for this team who has given us so much enjoyable basketball. We got to support these guys. Yeah. Look, basketball is really hard. What do I always say? Whenever people used to criticize Tibbs, right? I was just to make the point. Well, there's someone else coaching on the other sideline that is tasked with, winning the game as well. Same thing with the players. It's like you give the other team credit too. We should all, first and foremost, me, obviously, have more grace, and give more grace when it comes to these guys, because it is a long season. It is a grueling season. I just, 30 plus years being a fan, I understand that there are some out there watching this who have been a fan for longer than me and also have not experienced a championship. I shouted out Robert Cross at the beginning of the show. I think he was born the year the Knicks last won a championship. Yeah, I think so. So, I'm not putting myself at the top of the list, but like it's been a long, arduous journey to get to this point where you feel like this is the best, like every, the life cycles of NBA teams, and where when your opportunity is there. And I think that's even another part of why the other night was so frustrating to me, is it like every time we get a game like that this season, I feel like my mind drifts back to game 1 against the Pacers and how shit, man, was that our chance? And how I'm still not over that game. And I hope I could get over it at some point. Still not over it. I still get angry thinking about it. But like, look, you can't live in the past. If we don't want the players to live in the past, we as fans should live in the past. And I can't let the notion of potential missed opportunity infect, thinking about the opportunity that this team has in front of them now. I have my doubts, obviously. Tonight doesn't change that. I still have the same doubts. But they deserve an opportunity to try to get it done. So let's hope they do it. Thanks, Parrish. Stop the panic. What's going on, man? Always well done. Great takes from John and KFS. Well, that's very kind. A lot of kind super chats tonight. People in a good mood, which is always nice to see. Joseph Sokola, what's going on, Joseph? The lack of grit against Detroit is what killed me. It was great to see some real grit against the Rockets tonight and a very strong game from Cat. Whenever I'm out, they pull me back in. I don't know, Joseph, if it was you or if it was somebody else, but someone I remember on Thursday had the super chat saying if they won on Saturday, it would make them even more pissed off because, like, why didn't they do this on Thursday? I don't know if it was you or I don't think it was you. I think it was somebody else. But it like, Joseph, this is exactly my point. This is exactly my point. Like, you're anybody out there wants to sell me any theories about anything, I will listen. I will hear you out. I may not agree with you, but I will hear you out. With the exception of one. The one theory you cannot sell me is that the regular season has no value whatsoever. And that because this team made it to where they made it last year, and because they know what it is to flip a switch in the playoffs, theoretically, which I don't agree, by the way, with that statement, but that is a sentiment that is out there, that, Detroit treated this like they treat every game against the Knicks like it's their Super Bowl, and the Knicks don't do that, and thus we could toss games like Thursday out the window. You could sell me on anything. You cannot sell me on that. You can't sell me on that, because then I watched tonight. And I watched a team that was desperate to get this win, pull it off in the fourth quarter by reaching down and digging so deep. And then I'm supposed to believe that, there's that. Yeah, they just didn't care. Yeah, no, you can't have it both ways. You just can't, so it all matters. It all has to matter. Otherwise, again, like I said at the top, what are we doing here? Thanks, Joseph. PQ from BK. I guess if Cat is actually involved, it helps. It's a major part of the storyline. I tried to allude to this earlier in the post game. I'll go back to it now. It's not all his fault. He needs to get the ball. He needs to be put in opportunities. But again, I'll quote Benji Ritholtz, and DJ also says this: players have agency. Players have agency. So it's a combination of things, but he needs to be given opportunity, and he had that tonight. So that was good. Thanks, PQ. Shortcuts, and then I'll read what you just put in the chat here. Shortcuts. Never forget, this is still a team learning a new coach, a coach experimenting with new lineups, etc. We will be the team to beat in the playoffs. Trust the process. I am pretty much staunchly now of the opinion that Detroit is the team to beat in the playoffs, unless Tatum comes back. If Tatum comes back and looks like Tatum, and the Boston gets enough of a sample size under their belt, then I think Detroit or Boston's team to beat in the playoffs. I think there's absolutely a world where the Knicks could go into the postseason viewed as the third most likely team to make the finals. And even as I say that, I'm like, Cleveland's not exactly dead yet. Like they haven't lost since the James Harden trade, right? So I get what you're saying. I get the learning. I get the experimenting. I get all that stuff. Brown said as much before the game tonight when he talked about getting, figuring out CAD and this and that and the other thing. I got to be honest with you, Shortcuts. It reeks to me a little bit of putting the little lipstick on the pig. I think there have been real struggles. I think this process has not gone anywhere near as smoothly on multiple levels as anybody anticipated it would go, or obviously wanted it to go. And I think the fact that we're sitting here talking about, we're still figuring it out, and I'm learning CAD, and I simplified the offense for him, but not just him, for everybody. It's 56 games, 57 after tonight. I'm sorry. I get stuff takes time, but I'm not as moved by this argument. But like I just said a minute ago, I'll hear arguments. I'll hear this argument. This argument I'll hear. I just don't agree with it, but I'll hear it. Anyway, so Mark, thank you for putting this in. This is an Ian Begley tweet. Mike Brown said Karl Anthony Towns had a message in the huddle at the beginning of the fourth. At the end of the day, it starts defensively. We got to start with getting a stop. Towns led the charge on that end with defense on Sengun per Brown. Brown also said Rick Brunson suggested putting Alvarado on the floor in the fourth quarter. Alvarado's the defensive player of the game. Yeah, I mean, Towns actually said that in the sideline interview too, that they got on what channel was the game on? ABC, I think. Yeah. So, look, great job by Mike Brown praising Cat publicly. That's all. That's all I care about with that. Like, anytime Mike Brown gets in front of the microphone and says something positive about Cat, that's hopefully going to get back to Cat, and Cat's going to be like, oh, he likes me. He really likes me. That's a beautiful thing. Flatulente, what's going on? Macri, you're the GOAT. I think I'm the one that eats cans, not the way you're implying it, but I thank you for the compliment. You give level-headed analysis and try to be rational, but eventually your fandom takes over and gives us epic, legendary moments, i.e. the Cat crash out, Pistons game, etc. I fart a lot. Just want to note that that's what the super chat says. I'm not saying that I fart a lot. Do I fart a lot? Wouldn't you like to know? Although we do have a nice running gag with my younger daughter, her birthday is in a week and a half, where when we are in the same room together, and one of us passes gas, it doesn't matter who it is, she will inevitably look at me and say, "That was you." Sometimes it is me, sometimes it's her. But she always looks at me and points at me and says, "That was you." And this is a beautiful thing that we shared together as father and daughter. Anyway, thank you for the compliment, kind words. Look, I wish, I mean this, I wish I had a better, filter, and I could channel the feelings that I have into more productive ways. I don't, obviously, as Andrew kind of said before. If I'm mad enough, you're gonna get whatever's there, and sometimes it's gonna be a little unhinged and a little crazy and maybe a little not uncalled for, over the top, I guess would be the easiest way to say it. But it is coming from a genuine place. It's the one thing I always promised myself I would never do. I don't even know if I'd be able to do this, but the one thing I promised myself I would never do is I would never say anything because I thought it would be good for content. Obviously, this is a business enterprise now, and as I was joking with Andrew towards the end of his time when he came on here, that he's the one who, put out the clip that went viral. Like, we have no choice at this point because we make our livings from this shit. But like, when there is a moment or something, we'll lean into it. So, and I'm sure that does exist in the back of my subconscious, during some of these monologues. But like, everything, if it's coming out, it's coming from a real place. And, again, I wish I was a little bit better at channeling that, because there's ways to do that productively, and then there's ways to do it that's, maybe less productive. But appreciate you sticking with me, watching, listening, the whole thing. Always means a lot. And Dennis, what's going on, man? Jose's energy is and will be a massive impact to this team. His ability to raise the level of play of the people around him is key. and he's shown this on every team he's been on since high school. He was the perfect guy to trade for. The one argument that I was never really moved by was the notion that, oh, you're adding a small guy to a team full of small guys. I get that that's not ideal, especially when you're playing a team like Detroit who has so much size, but even if he's limited to something closer to 15 minutes a night in the playoffs, I just like having a guy out there who makes those sorts of plays. Was he the player of the game tonight? I mean, I think Cat was the player of the game. I think Alvarado was like right there, probably, with him, and OG also. Like, I do not want to diminish OG's importance and impact tonight either. Thanks, and Dennis. ZYA. No. Did I get that right? I don't know. This felt like a game from last year. I loved it. Oh, well. Yeah. I mean, they've had games. I mean, the Christmas game. They had the Christmas game, the NBA Cup final. They were down in the fourth quarter. They pulled out the Indiana game after the Cup game. They had some other ones, Denver was nip and tuck. I mean, the fact that they hung on versus Denver after that game went to double overtime was like, you want to talk about gut check time. Like, so, despite my little soliloquy on Thursday, this season has not been a complete disaster. It's just the bad has been really frustratingly bad. They've had good, and this might have been the best of everything. So there you go. Hush with another one. Brunson plays all of the first and third and always takes out Cat 6 minutes into the first and third. Maybe experiment a bit on them too, because there are two best players. Is it as simple as he always wants one of them on the floor? And can you do that with a different substitution pattern? I personally don't ever want to see a minute of hashtag meaningful basketball without either Karl Anthony Towns or Jalen Brunson on the floor. And I say that be fully cognizant of my many criticisms of Karl Anthony Towns, but at the same time, if this team is ever going to win a blessed thing, they're going to need Karl Anthony Towns to be some version of what he was tonight. And that guy, I want that guy on the floor when Jalen Brunson is not on the floor. So I just think that's why the sub patterns are the way they are. Now, playoffs, you may push it a little bit longer with certain guys. But the notion that Mike Brown should ever have a single minute with one of them off the floor in the court, I think would be a little nuts. Thanks, Hush. All right, last one, courtesy of OG Team coming up. No? Hush it with one more. Then we got the last one. We can be annoying, but at least we're not Philly. I mean, no one's Philly. Philly sucks. Now the last one from OG Team. Why couldn't Asar and Alman's dad just pull out that day? That's very good. Alman is a very good basketball player. He's a future All-Star. Love watching him play. Thought he made an incredible winning impact on the game tonight. Jabari Smith Jr., amazing impact. I haven't talked about the Rockets a lot tonight, but like really, really impressive game from several members of. Like, I thought Tari Eason, they kept saying, Mike Breen kept saying on the broadcast, just he tries harder than everybody else, and he was not wrong. Tari Eason does try harder than everybody else. Sengun was the one guy who probably had a little bit of a lesser impact, and yet it felt like every shot in the mid-range that he put up, like, went in, like bounce, soft touch, in. So, like, this is a real team, I know they're missing Adams, and Adams is a big part of what they do. But, like, it's a real team. I don't think that they should be in, like, and they're not in the same class as Denver and OKC, but there's a real team. It's a really good team. And the Knicks got themselves a really nice win. And it was one that, again, I know If they had lost tonight, I know what the conversation would have been. The conversation would have been, not the end of the world. They're just, let's gear up for the playoffs. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you missed me with that one. This win mattered. It mattered to me, who was really ready to be out mentally. No, I'll never be out, but like, you know how you are when you get to a point with something, whether it's a basketball team or someone you're dating. I was ready to be mentally out. Mentally, emotionally, one of those two. And maybe the players have never even been close to getting to that point. I don't know. I still go back to Mike Brown saying that he thought the Detroit game had extra meaning, and then they went out and played like they did, and then this game was going down like it was going down. To get this win, it's an important win. It's an important win, and if anything good does happen this season, I have to imagine that of all the games that we will look back on, I got to think that this will be at or near the top of the list. So there you go. And on that note, got nothing else to say. I've done a lot of talking tonight. Probably too much. But what can I tell you? I got a microphone in front of me, so got to say stuff. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Please like this video. Why would you not like this video? The video is so likable. How could anyone not like this video? So you could show that appreciation by hitting the like button. You could also subscribe to this YouTube channel. And if you're listening on podcast form, feel free to give a 5-star rating, write a nice review. Got lots of bonus content. Of course, always at Patreon and the Knicks Film School newsletter on Substack, which I write, and I will be writing right now. I guess 1:30 in the morning. That's fucking late. I am tired, but I am gonna bang this one out. I have no idea what I'm gonna say in this newsletter, but I'll think of something because I usually do. And then follow us on socials at Knicks Film School, SKOOL. That's it. Hope everybody has a great rest of your weekend. Hope everybody does okay with the snow and impending bad weather. And then I'll see you tomorrow night after the Bulls game. Hopefully another win. Until then, peace out. Enjoy your Sunday.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777. Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Maryland, visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Not available in all states. Terms apply. See the Fanatics Sportsbook app.